This is the aftermath of Hurricane Camille in Nelson County. Camille is one of only 4 Category 5 hurricanes to ever make landfall in the United States.
You have rainfall falling, an intense amount of rainfall falling on very steep topography. So it's already going to be running off very quickly, happening overnight. So everybody was taken by surprise. And unfortunately, over the course of the whole storm, I think it's over 120 people wound up losing their lives in Virginia alone.
On August 19, 1969, Hurricane Camille dropped 30 inches of rain. Virginians were unprepared for the destruction. Forecasters had no idea it was coming, and Virginians went to bed thinking that the hurricane that had destroyed southern states had died down to nothing. They were wrong.
We actually don't know the top sustained wind speeds from Hurricane Camille simply because it destroyed all of the wind recording equipment in the landfall area.
Dr. Jeremy Hoffman, the David and Jane Cone scientist at the Science Museum of Virginia, says Hurricane Camille was the first time that the United States recognized that it wasn't just coastal communities impacted by hurricanes.
Everyone in Virginia that I know that's lived here their whole lives know a few names by heart. Agnes, Juan, Camille, Gaston. Some of those are just seared into the collective cultural memory of Virginia because of their devastating impacts.
Hurricane Camille was thought to be a once-in-a-century storm, but then came Hurricane Agnes, which caused record flooding of the James River. Both hurricanes Camille and Agnes left an everlasting mark on Virginia communities.
In historical discussions of flooding, we tend to focus on hurricanes, but now the story is more in recent memory. It's these really intense, short, non-tropical storms causing this same level, well, maybe not the exact same level, but certainly a comparable level of devastation in communities around Virginia.
Actually, I had a cousin that was missing, and her car actually had got mudslided, and the family was worried. Didn't know where she was at, but we found out she had went to a neighbor's house, so she was found good. But there's other people that got missing that it took days to find.
On July 12, 2022, flash flooding in Buchanan County washed away houses and damaged more than 100 homes. On top of this destruction, 44 people went missing, swept away by floodwaters and mudslides. Surrounding areas also felt the impact, but additional help arrived when Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin declared a state of emergency.
All disasters are going to have the first responders from that specific locality respond to that disaster. And then when the state steps in, that's really when those localities have identified the need that they say, hey, we've exceeded our capabilities and what we can offer to this disaster. We need state help.
As rescue teams from across Southwest and Central Virginia pitched in, they were able to make contact with all of the missing people and bring them to safety. Emergency efforts continued, helping those who had lost everything.
And it's still, they're not cleaned up there. Their houses are gone, their homes, their lives, their things. And you wonder, if that's you, what would you do? And every flood comes, and you got that fear left.
Goldie Looney says flash flooding has caused significant damage to her home, and she's lost irreplaceable items.
It's an everyday thing. When it floods in our basement, we had to replace that hot water tank. We've had a pond that I've had for over years. It's gone. And in my car, it's gone. It's just not there no more. And you fear you have to get your car out before it gets to your driveway, or you don't have a car. You have no way out then.
On what they call their blue sky days, VDOM is focused on helping Virginians stay alert, aware, and prepared so they know what to do when heavy rain falls.
First and foremost, know the forecast of what's coming and the impacts of that forecast. You may hear 1 inch of rain, 2 inches of rain, but how does that translate? What does that mean to me? And sometimes you might have the ability to 1 inch of rain means nothing, but maybe that 1 inch of rain falls over the course of 30 minutes really fast and over an area with poor drainage.
What Looney and her neighbors endured is an example of sudden catastrophic flooding, but more Virginia cities are dealing with flash flooding of varied intensity as storms become more frequent and more powerful. Experts tell us flash flooding is the most dramatic and the deadliest.
So this is usually confined to a pretty small area, getting an intense amount of precipitation in a very short amount of time. And that it can be a place like a city street or a canyon in a mountain. And so those surfaces can't absorb that water fast enough.
In Old Town Alexandria, the Potomac River is rising more frequently.
If we were standing here during what is called a king tide, which is one of those extreme events in the year, we'd probably be pretty much underwater in this spot right here. And the water would go as far up on the street, probably maybe the next block over, halfway.
Dan Medina is the stormwater project manager of Alexandria. He says with nothing to block the water, it's getting into the drainage system and flooding the streets, creating a chronic problem.
Streets are affected, of course. Houses are affected, of course. The water makes it into people's basements, and whatever is there is essentially useless.
The city is considering a variety of solutions, from barriers to upgrades to their drainage system at a cost of tens of millions of dollars. The Hampton Roads area has endured a similar street flooding issue, but southeastern coastal communities are also dealing with the challenges of sea level rise. Climate experts say part of the problem is the land is also sinking. At Old Dominion University in Norfolk, researchers are building a digital twin of Hampton Roads using Geographical Information Systems, or GIS, which is a digital version of maps. Professor Tom Allen says the digital twin is like having a time machine.
So in our digital twin, we can simulate flooding in the future, assess the impacts, and redesign to reduce the effects or the hazards, the economic costs, for example, of those. So it's a way of using it to look into the future. Then we're going to develop a prototype. Think of it as a demonstration, and that will be tackling very common issues, a flood event. How does emergency response prepare and respond to a flood event? Well, we would rather train and simulate that than wait and see and do our experiments in real time.
The digital twin is for the benefit of Hampton Roads and for localities across Virginia who know too well what flooding can do.
At this time, there's so many floods. I just want to stop, just let them go. I'm tired of losing so much.
Thank you for watching. Continue to follow Virginia news and stories by subscribing to our VPM YouTube channel.